Hi, I'm Lindsay. I'm a barista at Federal Cafe. What makes Federal so popular? I think because it's like a Antipodean style brunch cafe. Antipodean is just like New Zealand / Australian. I think the way that that differs from like any other like sort of place in the world for cafe culture is just, it's sort of down to a science, I'd say. What do we do in our day? Obviously make banging coffee all day. Chat to customers, like make sure the service is running smoothly. I've been waiter, bartender, and till person, cashier, door person, and obviously barista. I think working as a barista, how it differs from like say a bartender or a waiter, you're just able to like stay planted. I like when you're able to stay planted as a barista. You can just keep working, but you barely have to move. You're just arms everywhere, like making all the drinks when it's like a full line of checks, and I'm just like busting it out, like there for like 3 hours, 4 hours, just do. I was working at a coffee roastery 2 days a week, and I didn't really enjoy coffee before that. I actually hated it. Initially just went into that job because I liked the smell and I needed money. But then after tasting the coffee, I was hooked. Yeah, nerd's a nice way of putting it. When you say like connoisseur or like snob, people just sort of get the wrong idea. You seem a bit wanky. I don't really like that part of it. I just really enjoy it and like the diversity in it. My first hospitality job was in a cafe that was about like 10-15 minutes away from that roastery, and then that's where I got my first front of house like hospitality job and started learning all the positions and started learning how to make coffee. I didn't take to it straight away. I was quite stressed, even in the interview. I couldn't believe, because I was 18 and I'd like never done anything like that before. So I was quite stressed when I was in the interview. I was even stressing out so much that I almost cost myself the job. Why did I decide to come to England? Well, initially it was so I could have like a base to travel around Europe from. I enjoy working in hospitality and like cafes, and a good barista is always in need somewhere. I went from working at Eden, which used to be Tiger, and then I applied at Federal about a year ago this time, just before the first lockdown. I was told that I was like second in line to get the job because one person just edged me out, and I was like, damn it. Then the manager who I had the trial with told me about another place called Foundation Coffee House that were hiring, and they needed someone who was good. And then after being with them for a while, I saw the opportunity to come back to Federal and apply, and then now I'm here and I'm loving it. What is it that appeals to me long-term about the hospitality industry? The opportunity for growth, really. The connections you make with the people you meet. I enjoy progression in all aspects of my life. I don't want to just stay where I am unless I'm very happy with it, which I'm happy where I am, but I still want to go further and still see what I'm capable of doing. I really like challenging myself. Being able to remain calm under pressure, that's a big one. Remaining calm, not getting too in your head, not getting too stressed. Having a good work ethic, like knowing that you've got to like still keep pushing, keep going throughout the whole day and making sure everything's still at that standard that it needs to be. Being able to multitask, that's a big one. If you can't multitask in hospitality, especially in like a very like busy place or something that's really popular, you're not really going to last very long. You need to be able to multitask. What appeals to me, like in particular about the coffee sector, is it's a bit more chilled out than say like a bar or a restaurant. Like when you go into a place, you don't want it to be like super rammed and stressful. I like that type of atmosphere, and I like working in that atmosphere. You'll meet the people that are like quite passionate about coffee. If you're a good barista, and they'll often want to have a chat with you about it, and I really enjoy those because you can usually say something that they've never heard of, or like a different approach on something. It feels nice to educate people more about coffee too, because most people don't realize like how much theory goes into it. Like there's so much just before you're able to have like this third wave specialty coffee latte. Like there's so much work that goes into it, and I love telling people about that. What would I go back and tell myself before I started hospitality? Don't take it too seriously. I always thought like things had to be so specifically, they have to like meet all the things. Like if you do that, like you can manage to just like stress yourself out way too much. Like, of course you want to have a high standard for things, but also don't want to kill yourself doing it, you know what I mean? And I think I was doing that earlier on in my hospitality career, where I was like getting way too in my head and overthinking things that they needed to be X, Y, Z. Do a little bit of research. I mean, knowledge is power. I mean, after reading a bit more on coffee and like getting a bit more into the theoretical side, I definitely know how to make coffee better. Like, it's not all just experience, it's definitely a fair amount of theory. Yeah, I'd love to have my own coffee shop. A lot of my friends say that like I'd be a shoo-in for it, and it makes a lot of sense because like I'm one person that like quite knows coffee, like where to go, what to get, like if it's gonna be good, if it's gonna be bad. Like, yeah, I think it's definitely in the future for me.